Okay, grade 12. The next section that we're going to look at is South Africa's tourism profile. This is not an essay question. I wouldn't even say that this is an 8-mark discuss question. This is small little tidbits of information that they can ask, for example, for 2 marks or for 4 marks in a data response question or in short questions. All right. So you're going to read through this just to get more or less an idea of what this is. Obviously, statistics you don't have to memorize. All right, just look at the general information. All right, this is on page 119 in your textbook. The first thing we're going to look at is the tourist generating countries. In other words, where do most of our tourists come from? All right, now for South Africa, about 74%, 3/4 of the tourists, foreign tourists that come to South Africa, comes from Africa. Okay, so neighboring countries in Africa. And of those 74%, 97% of them are from the SADC countries. SADC, remember, Southern African Development Community. It's us and other countries then in Southern Africa. And many of these people literally come to South Africa. They pop over the border. They buy food. They buy other consumer goods that some of them don't, that they can't necessarily find in the other country or that might be cheaper here. And most of them do not actually stay over in official accommodation. Right. We can see when we look at customs records that they come over the border, they do spend the night. Yeah, otherwise, they wouldn't be classified as tourism. But we assume that they stay with relatives or they stay with friends, but they don't literally book into a hotel or any other form of official accommodation. They do spend the night. Now, they might spend more than one night because they don't go through the border back to their own country on the same day. All right. We're assuming that they're staying with friends or relatives. All right. Now, obviously, these tourists coming from Africa, from the SADC countries, they're basically just using South Africa as a shopping place, okay? A place to come and do their shopping. They buy consumer goods, clothing, food, groceries, fruit, vegetables, whatever, things like that, okay? These are not the people that are going to spend the lots and lots of money. All right. It's the tourists from outside Africa. They bring in the money. They are the big spenders. And for most of them, South Africa is a holiday destination. Yeah? They come to South Africa on holiday. Okay, they want to come to the beaches, come to the Kruger National Park, whatever. They want to come and spend time here to rest and relax and use this time as a holiday. All right. Our bigger generator of tourists outside of Africa is Europe, okay, especially the UK, Britain, okay. A lot of them come to South Africa for holiday over December, for example, when it is middle of the winter in Europe and it's freezing cold. So they try to escape the cold. They come to South Africa where the sun is shining and the temperature is really nice and they can have a nice little beach holiday. All right. The highest growth was from countries outside of Europe and Africa, particularly America, Australia, and Asia. That's the biggest growth. Majority of our tourists come from Africa, and outside of Africa, the majority would be from Europe. The people from Europe, they are the people that bring the money. They are coming with lots and lots of money. Their currency is strong. So South Africa is a cheap destination for them, and they are going to spend a huge amount of money. Right, what is the purpose for tourists to come to South Africa? Okay, foreigners visit South Africa for the purpose of vacation. So 94% of the people that come to South Africa come for the purpose of vacation, holiday. They come to have a holiday. 2% is basically for business purposes. Yeah, they attend conferences, business meetings, etc., etc. In 2011, the stats showed that 53% of our foreign tourists were male and 47% were female, and more than 82% of them were between the ages of 15 and 65, or 64, basically the economically active population. All right. Now, both domestic and foreign tourists spend a lot of their time and a lot of their money on 3 key attractions. Okay, the biggest tourist attractions in our country is the coast, the sea. They want to come to the sea. And wildlife. Okay, they want to come and see the big 5. And then the country's mountains, deserts, bushveld, ecotourism, in other words. They want to come and experience the climate, the beauty of our country, the beaches, the sea, the animals, the mountains, the bushveld, the plants. Ecotourism. They come to experience natural experiences. All right. and much or a large part of the natural environment that tourists come to visit is conserved or protected. It's conservation areas. Like Table Mountain is a conservation area. Like Kruger National Park is a conservation area. Any game parks, things like that, that is protected, that is where they come and see. That's where the animals are safe. Everywhere else, we've kind of killed them all. So this is where they can come to experience all the animal life and the plants and whatever. Right, then there's also many tourists that visit South Africa to visit friends and relatives. Okay, so they have friends or relatives that live here. They come to visit for 2 weeks, whatever, before they go back to their own country for shopping purposes. As I said, specifically the people coming from the SADC countries, they come to South Africa to shop, to buy their groceries, to buy clothing, etc., that they don't have in their own country or that is too expensive in their own country. And then also lots of people travel for sports and recreation, medical, and then also religious reasons. Okay, in terms of business tourism, we have lots and lots of infrastructure that makes us the ideal destination for international congresses and conventions. And according to the SATUA annual report in 2011, business tourism is seen as the key to further growth in the sector. Now, we want people to see this as a business opportunity. A lot of times other countries, the governments of other countries, when they are in talks with our government doesn't go there, they come to us because we have the infrastructure, we have the hotels for them to stay in. Most of our hotels have convention centers attached to them. We have the infrastructure to host meetings and conventions and business shows and stuff like that. All right. So business tourism basically sustains about 300,000 jobs in the country, and there's 8 billion rands worth of salaries that is earned through business tourism and 6 billion rands of taxes that is paid. So it is a big earner of money. Okay, then ecotourism, I just mentioned there. That's South Africa's wildlife. Yes, we have the big five. A lot of people come to see the big five, but that is supported by a biological diversity. We don't have just the big five. There's lots and lots of big animals, lots of bugs, lots of insects, lots of flowers, and other natural things that people come here to see. All right. And of the 8 World Heritage sites in our country, 3 of the 8 are natural sites. And then 1 is a mixed cultural natural sites. We're going to talk about the World Heritage sites just now. All right. But just to give you an idea why ecotourism is so big in our country, is that 3 of the 8 World Heritage sites are actually natural sites that people come to see. All right. In terms of cultural tourism, I said in the beginning of this chapter, we are so suitable for cultural tourism because we have lots and lots of different cultures, recognized cultures in our country, each with its own different art forms and music and rituals and food to eat and clothing and lots of different cultural experiences that people can come to South Africa to experience. And they can come to one country and experience a wide variety of different cultures. Okay, in terms of paleotourism, remember paleotourism is when people come to visit sites of archaeological significance, all right? And again, we have lots of those, all right? The best known ones is Sterkfontein, the Sterkfontein Caves. This is here by the Cradle of Humankind. Okay, Swartkrans, Kromdraai, all of them, they make up the Cradle of Humankind. And this is where a lot of fossils have been found, the skull of Mrs. Place. Now, this is what they believe is the Cradle of Humankind. This is where kind of humans developed initially, etc. Okay, so if they want to come and see, the archaeological sites, they want to see the fossils that was dug up, where the fossils came from, go down into the caves, etc. Obviously, we have that for them in South Africa. All right, and then in terms of adventure tourism, we have more than 3,000 k's of coastline along with mountain ranges. Now, we said people come to see the beaches. We've got 3,000 kilometers of beaches that people can come and see. We're a very mountainous country. There's lots of mountains in many different places in our country, not just Table Mountain. We've got a wide variety of different mountains where people can come and see. They climb the mountain, okay? Diverse terrain, climate that is suited to outdoor activities. Our weather is warm. Even in winter, it's not that cold. It's not as cold as what it gets in Europe. So even during winter time, it's suitable. Our climate is suitable for outdoor activities, hiking, mountain biking, walking, climbing up the mountains, horseback, White River rafting, diving with the sharks. All of this we offer in South Africa. A wide variety of adventure tourist kind of stuff that people can come and do in South Africa. And even in the winter, it is not so cold that we cannot do any of these activities. Okay. Then if we look at South Africa as a preferred destination, all right, so obviously tourism is a very extremely competitive business there. Obviously, lots of countries are offering different kinds of experiences. And the competitive advantage that we have in terms of tourist destinations is no longer just natural. It's not focused just on the natural environment. It is increasingly man-made. Now, it's driven by technology, information, innovation. People want to come. Yes, they want to spend time in nature. Yes, they want to see the big five. But when they want to speak to their family back home, they want the technology to be able to do that. They want the Wi-Fi connection. So they still want a comfortable experience. All right. So it's not just the fact that we have all these natural resources that is making us a preferred destination for tourism, but it is also how these resources are managed and to what extent it is complemented by man-made innovations. So yes, we have the big five, but do we have modern hotels where people can come and spend their time? Do we have running water? Is there enough running water? Do we have enough accommodation? Is the roads well maintained? Is it possible for people to get to the tourist destinations, right? So it's a combination of what do we have, which kind of natural resources do we have that they want to come and see, and those must be complemented by man-made things that is going to make their experience more comfortable. All right. So in this regard, obviously South Africa scores very well. We have a well-established network of national parks, okay, things like the Kruger National Park, where it's conservation areas where people can literally come and see the animals and plant life and obviously experience time in nature. Okay, our national parks covers about 6.3% of the surface area of our country. And then there's, in addition to that, a large amount of private nature reserves that is not necessarily like national. National parks is owned by the government, it's conserved by the government and enforced by the government. But in addition to that, there's some very, very fancy private nature reserves where people can get exactly the same kind of experience. People that want to experience nature, they can do that. Okay, we have lots of opportunities for them to do that. All right. Then some of our South African companies are leaders in global best practice. Okay, so obviously we are well known for certain things in our country, and international best practice is what works best. We have done things in South Africa in such a way that it complies with international best practice. At the beginning of this chapter, we also mentioned that the political transformation of South Africa has opened up our tourist potential. Remember, pre-94, we had sanctions, we had boycotts. We didn't really have tourism because people couldn't get in and out of the country. But with the political transformation after 1994, our country has opened up, and obviously the tourist potential is there. Now we have whatever people want to come and do, we can offer that for them in South Africa. All right. It is also diverse. Okay, our country is diverse in terms of its climate. If they like the hot, humid heat, they go down to the Durban area. If they want the dry heat, they go to the Western Cape. If they want the more temperate weather, they go wherever. Now we have our country's large, and there's different climatic zones in our country. So we can cater for whatever, all right, whatever people are looking for in terms of climatic conditions, different cultures, as I said, a multitude of different cultures that they can come and experience, multitude of different tourist activities that they can get involved in, whether it's paleo tourism, cultural tourism, business tourism, medical tourism, whatever they want to come and experience, we can give them that experience. And all of these things combines to make us a preferred tourist destination. All right, we cover everything. All right. Then what are the local destinations? Now, where do people tend to go? All right. Now, when we talk about a tourist destination, the destination includes all aspects of tourism. All right. So it's the transport, the accommodation, the marketing of it, the selling of stuff, the food, whatever. All aspects involved in tourism, the provision of the activities that people want to get involved in. All right. So obviously the destinations and the image will attract tourists. People are going to want to go there because they know about it. Okay, it has been advertised, they know that it exists, and it has a good image. It has a good reputation. They've heard from other people that other people had a good experience there. They've heard about the good service delivery. They heard about the beautiful mountains. So obviously, the variety of destinations that we have contributes to us having a successful tourist industry. There's lots of a variety in terms of our destinations, different kinds of tourism that people can come and experience here. Right. But now, our tourist destinations, that said, is not equally spread around the country. There are certain areas that are more suited for tourism, that is more focused, that tourists tend to prefer to go. All right. So geographical distribution of tourists is not necessarily even. Okay, people don't go all around South Africa. All right. 55% of inbound tourists, in other words, foreign tourists coming into our country, 55%, more than half of them, goes to a destination in Gauteng or in the Western Cape. So the most preferred destinations for foreign tourists would be Gauteng and the Western Cape. The reason why they come to Gauteng, that is for shopping purposes and businesses. Okay, there's obviously Gauteng is the hub of the economy in our country. So there's a lot of shopping centers and various things, different business tourism, a large amount of economic activities takes place in Gauteng. So Gauteng is preferred because of the good shopping and business opportunities that it offers. Okay, the foreigners that prefers the Western Cape, that is obviously preferred for the beautiful scenery and leisure activities. People go there for holiday. All right, particularly tourists from European and other developed countries, because the Western Cape is expensive. It is a very expensive holiday. All right, most of our foreign visitors are first-time visitors, and when they come for the first time, they stay for a relatively short period, okay, around about 10 nights. Foreigners that attend conferences, so business tourism, they stay for around 5 nights. But in many cases, we see that a person would come for a conference, business tourism, and they would come back. They would return to the country at a later stage to then come on holiday. They can come, they go for business tourism, they can see what the country is all about, they enjoy the experience, the climate, the whatever so much, that they do come back at a later stage for a holiday. Then in which case it would be leisure. All right. Your destination stakeholders, those are all the individuals that have a vested interest in tourism at the destination. So anybody directly or indirectly involved in tourism, anybody that can benefit in any way from tourism, those are called the stakeholders. It's the owners of the businesses that is involved in the tourist industry, the workers that have jobs as a result of the tourist industry, the suppliers of goods and services to the tourist industries. The government is stakeholders because obviously they're going to benefit in terms of taxes. They're in charge of the infrastructure. So anybody that is even remotely involved in the tourist industry is going to be grouped together as the stakeholders. The stakeholders are anybody that has an interest in tourism in any form whatsoever. Okay, the most popular tourist destinations in South Africa as voted for by foreign tourists. So the foreign tourists wants to see these things. The V&A waterfront, that is in Cape Town, right? It's a big shopping, big shopping, lots of restaurants, whatever, there at the harbour. Then Table Mountain, also Cape Town. Okay, that's obviously an environmental thing. Cape Point, and then the Western Cape wine routes, the garden route, Kirstenbosch, National Botanical Gardens, all of these tourist destinations are in the Western Cape. All right, that's why, as we saw just now, that most of the foreign tourists that come here for holiday experiences, they go to the Western Cape. All right, and these are the tourist attractions that they prefer to visit when they are in the Western Cape. Okay, then other popular destinations, the Kruger National Park, that's in Mpumalanga, the Durban beachfront, that's obviously in Natal, Johannesburg for shopping and business purposes, Soweto is a historical thing. People want to go and experience a shebeen, for example. They want to do the Soweto tour, and they want to get an authentic kind of, a cultural kind of experience. The Blyde River Canyon Nature Reserve, that's a natural ecotourism. The Wild Coast for ecotourism, and then obviously all of our World Heritage sites. These ones you must know. They like asking these ones. All right. So what are our World Heritage sites? That would be Robben Island, the Cradle of Humankind, the Mapungubwe Cultural Landscape, Richtersveld Cultural and Botanical Landscape, the Drakensberg near the mountains, the Cape Floral Region, Isimangaliso Wetland National Park, and then the Vredefort Dome. All right, the Cradle of Humankind, obviously Robben Island because of the fact that, the prisons that is there, the fact that Mandela was held prisoner there, people want to go and see that. Okay, it's a historical, cultural kind of heritage site. Cradle of Humankind is a paleo tourism, right, archaeological site. Mapungubwe, the cultural landscape, cultural tourism, archaeological sites. That is where, if I'm not mistaken, the first kind of civilization in South Africa. They discovered signs of the first civilization at Mapungubwe. Okay, the Richtersveld cultural and botanical landscape, that's a combination, obviously, of a cultural and environmental heritage site. Drakensberg will be a heritage site relating to nature, a natural heritage site, same as the Cape Floral Region, same as Isimangalisu. Isimangalisu is basically a combination of different ecosystems. It's one place where different ecosystems can be experienced. Okay, that's in Natal. And then the Vredefort Dome is in the Free State. That is literally where millions and millions of years ago, a meteorite from space hit South Africa. And the Vredefort Dome is the site where that meteorite hit South Africa. It is quite spectacular to see, to Google and to see an aerial photo of the landscape. You can literally see the Free State is flat. And where this meteorite, when it hit, obviously it broke into like a million pieces. All the surrounding area, it's flat and like sand. And the Vredefort Dome, where the thing hit, obviously it's very rocky. And there's like, it's not a mountain, but it's not flat, because that's part of the meteorite that actually hit that is still lying there from millions of years ago. All right, when you're standing on it, it doesn't look impressive at all, because all you see is the rocks around you. But if you look from, aerial photograph, and you can see how the earth was misplaced, how the meteorite hit, and then it pushed, as it fell, it pushed into, and it created this mountain range at the end of it that wasn't there before. The force of this meteorite hitting the land moved the land and displaced the land to create this mountain range that is quite spectacular to see. All right. Okay, then lastly for this video, the domestic tourists. Okay, domestic tourists are local people. There was a total of 26.4 million domestic trips in 2011. But the number of adult South Africans that traveled grew to 13.9 million. As we said in the beginning of this chapter, there's more people that is traveling domestically. More people are traveling around their own country. And then the average amount spent per domestic trip grew to 780 Rand per trip. That is really not a lot. Remember, it's the foreign tourists that bring in the money. And most South Africans, when we travel within our own country, a major reason for that is leisure purposes. We travel to go on holiday, to go and relax and to go on holiday. All right.